The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Milt is freaking today, militiaman. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at not a necessarily brand new Transformers Legacy action figure, but one that has been extremely hard to obtain for a lot of people and that I have just recently obtained, that being the Transformers Legacy Deluxe Dead End. Yes, the next in our installment of Stunticon reviews that has been long awaited, even though I believe that a lot of you have checked out other people's reviews first. This is just going to be mine on Dead End. So before we begin that review, let's just take a quick look at the packaging. Up front here, we have a nice picture of Dead End in his alt mode. Dead End is his name, and it is a deluxe class. As always, you have the Legacy trades, Transformers trades along the sides, the Generations logo, and the Takara Tomy trades. Up top, we have the Stunticon 3 of 5. So the Legacy trades once again. On the side, we have the nice artwork of Wave 1 of Legacy, a few Transformers Authentic trades, as well as the Legacy trades again. On the back, we have Dead End in his robot and vehicle mode. Once again, the 3 of 5 for Menasor. 15 steps, some text packs if you want to look at them, I don't really care. Some legal jargon, more legal jargon. Dead End's name and Cybertronian on the side, and a mugshot of him, as well as him in his robot mode. And that's about it. As I say in every single video, you only really care about the box if you are a box collector, of which I'm not. I am here to review toys, and that is what I'm going to do. Freeze frame.
It's been an honor serving with you all. Autobots, roll out! We roll!
Freeze frame unfreeze, and here is Dead End. And what can I say about this guy? I don't love it, but he's definitely not the worst of the new Stunticon team. As I said in my drag strip review, the reason I wanted to get these new Stunticons so soon after the old Stunticons is because, well, one, the Combiner Wars Menasor sucked, and two, because I thought that these were all going to be brand new molds for the figures, and in a way they were, but you wouldn't be able to tell. But this is a heavy retool of drag strip. They transform almost the exact same way with just a slight change. And I'll, of course, show that when I get onto the transformation. But Dead End himself is literally just drag strip, but a different kind of car, which is very strange to me, because he does look nothing like drag strip. But we'll get onto that in a second. First, before we take a look at Dead End, let's take a look at his weapons, which are two laser pistols that are very faithful to the G1 counterpart, as you can see there. And they are done up in purple and black, much like the other two pistols that we've gotten so far. But you do have ports pretty much everywhere, including on the back of this, so you can get some pretty good use out of them. And of course, Dead End can hold them both. One and... come on, buddy. Two. So he can have his dual-wielding moment right there. And that's very nice. And Dead End himself, I mean, this figure looks pretty good. His entire torso, as you can see, is done up in that nice silver paint with a Decepticon badge in very light lavender in the center there. All this stuff is painted, except for these little bits right here, which are sculpted silver, which is fine. His noggin is very nicely sculpted as well, very accurate to the G1 model as well. He has this sort of orange faceplate, which looks like a duckbill, I'm not going to lie, but I can just barely make out his nose under there, so it breaks up the illusion just a little bit. What I do like about the head sculpt, though, is that very nice shade of metallic purple that they chose for his visor. I think that looks really awesome. The rest of him is just not painted, you know, like the doors and the legs are all just sculpted in red. On the back, however, we do have a very interesting design choice here, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. As for the posability of Dead End, he does have a simple swivel at the head, as well as he does have a swivel joint at the shoulder, so you can get a 360-degree range of motion, as well as a hinge joint so that he can get his arms all the way out. He has a cut at the biceps, so you can get a swivel there, as well as a just below 90-degree bend at the elbow. No wrist swivel, which would have been very easy to implement, but none for whatever reason here. He does have a waist swivel, which is very good. It can go all the way around completely unhindered. It has rotation at the hips, which can go forward about that far, even though it's just a little bit tight. But that's probably just my copy, and about that far back. You can also go out all the way. You do have, of course, an upper thigh cut, so you can get a swivel there. A pretty not great knee bend, and a hinge at the toe, which is more for our transformation than anything, but at least he does have a nice ankle pivot on both feet, which is always appreciated. That's pretty much it for the articulation of Dead End. Let's get a quick freeze frame going before we get into the size comparison, so freeze frame. Freeze frame on freeze. Here is Dead End next to our previous review, the Legacy Evolutions Voyager class Tarn, who towers above him. Oh my god. Here he is next to a little Lego minifigure, such as our dear friend Luke Skywalker. And here he is next to an old friend, that being the Classics 06 Voyager class Optimus Prime. And once again, very much shorter than all of them, and for good reason. But that's how they all look together. Let's get on to the transformation. Freeze frame.
Well, look at the time. It's walk o'clock. Yes, activate Golden Cannon. I love Lead Unicron.
Freeze frame on freeze. So if you remember the drag strip review, you'll know exactly how to transform Dead End. They are functionally almost exactly the same. The first thing you're going to want to do is start by rotating these panels on either of his arms downwards, like so, and follow with the wheels, just as drag strip did. Next thing you're going to want to do is pull this backpack piece back. As you can see, there's a little arm that is linked to the hood of the car, which is then hooked to the top front of the windshield. Just pop that back. It is on a hinge right there. Just pop that back, and you can then untab, just as with drag strip, untab Dead End's shoulders. You can pull them down for now. While you do that, take Dead End's head and just flip it around. You can then replace the windshield piece of the car so that it goes back right to where it was. Then you will see that on his shoulders, either of these arms are linked to a centerpiece right here, which will just swivel up like so. So you just bring this half upwards and then bring this other half upwards, making sure to rotate both here and here so that it ends up straight. There is then a tab and a hole on this side of the shoulder piece and a tab and a hole on this side of the shoulder piece. You're just going to want to tab them together. Then you can simply press Dead End's arms into his chest. Make sure they are straight, however, and line up with these sides of the windows here, like so, and they will just tab in. There's no special fancy sort of locking mechanism like there was with drag strip. It will just simply set in there, and there are two grooves right in here that this sort of hexagonal piece will rest in. So there you go. And then you can come around to the back of Dead End again and grab onto this hood piece, and using that arm I was talking about earlier, rotate it down so that it comes over the arms and then tabs in. And it will tab in on both sides. It'll just stay like that. Okay. The next part is the one that I hate the most. His legs are awful. I will say it straight up. His legs are atrocious. I hate them, despite the fact that they work exactly the same as drag strips. They are god-awful, and I'll tell you exactly why. What you're going to want to do next is split in half both of his shins. Now, you might say, well, why is that a problem? There's a hole there, there's a tab there, they should tab in very securely, and that's right, they do. However, when you get these things closed, they're almost impossible to untab when in vehicle mode, and it is a humongous pain in the ass. So what you're going to want to do is, as you can see, there's a mechanism in here which will allow you to fold up his legs. All you need to do is bend at the knee, and the rest will fall into that cavity. Same on the other side. You can then tab his legs together like that, at that little peg right there. That'll tab together. And then you can use these two tabs here and plug them into those holes right in there. You see one right there and another right there. Just tab them in and they will stay securely. This is the part that I despise, because once you close this up, which is the next step, you close up these two panels, they will tab in very securely, and now you have no way to untab them. What you're going to have to do once you complete the transformation and want to go back to robot mode is strangle it open at the middle, rotate it around, and then fight this to get it back open. And you wouldn't know how to do that if I wouldn't have just told you, because it's not in the instructions. It's a huge pain in the ass, and it would have just been so much easier if there was a little hole right here or a little pry bar or something to be able to open up the leg panels, but there's not, and it's very annoying. But I digress. Moving on to the other section of this robot that I hate, the feet. So as you can already tell, these things don't tab into each other very well, despite the fact that there is a tab right there and there is a hole right there. They don't tab in at all. What you're going to want to do, of course, here is there you already see the hinge there. Just swivel that into this hole, and it should work perfectly fine, but it doesn't stay flush. What you actually need to do, what they don't tell you, is that there are two tiny minuscule tabs here and here that will go into those holes in the back of the vehicle. Press those together, you're going to hear a very light click, and another click when you press them down in the back. And now it should theoretically stay together. However, some of you can already notice, these back pieces right here, what were once the feet, do not exactly line up all the best. That is because the tab that is in here, right there in the middle, my fingernail is pointing to it, but you can't really see it all that much because it's basked in darkness, is supposed to latch up and onto the other half. However, it is misshapen and doesn't work. I've seen many people just grind this thing off and simply just use the friction of these two tabs to keep the spoiler in place, which is bullshit and I hate it. But that is technically the end of the transformation, which is extremely annoying. Of course, while he's in vehicle mode, you can get a pretty good look at some of the more finer details of Dead End's paint job, including that very strange stripe that goes along the entire length of the car, which the Lazy Eyebrow pointed out is in 3 different sizes: thin here, fat here, and then medium size on the spoiler, which doesn't really make any sense to me, but I digress. You can fix that, as he said in his review. Very nice, completely blacked out windshield, windows, and moonroof, which is very nice. You have some nice silver headlights painted on there, as well as some gunmetal tires, which do not have pin clip tires coming through the front, which is very nice. They are all internal, as you may see, which is awesome to see, because personally I hate how it looks like that. But also, as the very astute of you might have noticed, the back section of the vehicle is coming apart, and that is something that I mentioned in the transformation that I fucking despise. This thing will not stay together no matter how much you press and prod. The reason why is, as you can tell, just as I was speaking about earlier, that little tab in there does not stay in. You are supposed to be able to just slide it over and up and have it latch onto the other side of the spoiler, and that will work for a little bit. But the second you say plug in his 2 guns to the ports on the back of the vehicle, 1 and 2, it will untab, and that is extremely annoying. So we're just going to have to live with it. For a size comparison, we will bring in a little Lego minifigure, such as Luke Skywalker, who looks very nice and in scale with our dear friend Dead End. And we will also bring in an old friend, the Classics 06 Optimus Prime, who he also looks very in scale with. This is pretty much a spitting image of how big Dead End is next to Motormaster, but we will see that when I do my Motormaster review. Pretty much it for the size comparison, though. Let's get on to my final thoughts so that I can accurately describe what I feel about this figure. Freeze frame.
If all else fails, I will unite it with the spark in my chest.
That's suicide. The cube is raw power. It could destroy you both.
A necessary sacrifice to bring peace to this planet.
Freeze frame unfreeze. So, overall, Dead End isn't the worst. I'm not gonna lie, the real saving grace of this figure is the fact that he is part of Menasor. The fact that you need him in order to form the final combiner is what's going to make you want to buy this figure. Other than that, he's just kind of okay. He's not the worst. Dragstrip is a great mold, and this is a heavy retool of that mold. It's just that those freaking legs are abysmal. I hate them. I hate the way they look. I hate the way they feel. I hate the way that his feet are way too loose and therefore cause him to fall the fuck over so many times. It's just, it's really annoying, and I wish that it wasn't like that. However, in robot mode, he's far from the ugliest bot to look at. I don't hate him all that much. I do think that, at the very least, an okay figure. And if you want him and none of my complaints have dissuaded you from that, then by all means pick up this figure. If anything, you'll get a nice background character and 2 nice weapons out of it. Other than that, he's just kind of okay. What really pisses me off is that it took me so long to find this guy, because I was hunting up and down for these Stunticons for months, and I ended up getting Breakdown, the last Stunticon released, before I got Dead End, which is very wrong. So that should at least let you know what next week's video is going to be. So if you like Dead End, or you like the Decepticons, the Stunticons, Transformers in general, what have you, make sure you share this video with all your friends, share it with your Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Keeps helping the channel grow, keeps helping me crank out these videos. That's going to be pretty much it for this video, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, peace.